Hello, everybody. It's me, Scoop, and welcome to Scoop Reviews Live. Now, we were just live 2 minutes ago, but we were having some technical difficulties, which seem to have. I figured it out. Don't worry, guys. I'm wired in here. But so what I was saying at the beginning of the last stream is we're going to the Penguin Zero Moist Critical School of content creation here. So I do just kind of have my PC ready to go, but generally I just, there's a lot of movies and shows that I've watched or am in the middle of watching as their seasons come out that I just haven't really had a chance to make a video about. Maybe didn't have enough content to make a full video about. So I wanted to do this live stream just to kind of get caught up, just produce a little more content. Maybe I'll be able to edit it into some videos, who knows. But so the plan for this was I was just going to, calmly go through my list, have some posters and stuff, some fun little transitions that I could get set up before. But I just got back from seeing The Monkey. Now, The Monkey technically doesn't release until tomorrow. I got to go to a cool early screening because I'm a film major in Atlanta and we get invited to these cool things like that. And this movie was so bad that I had to say, fuck it, we'll do it live. And I had to talk. I was going to do a full video on this, but I needed to talk about it live. This movie was so fucking bad. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I'm sorry. I gotta get my fucking emotions together here. I have nowhere. Listen. So if you don't know, The Monkey. Hold on. Let's go here. So The Monkey is an Osgood Perkins film, or an Oz Perkins film, Oswald Cobblepot film, and if you didn't know, Oz Perkins, he's the writer and director of Longlegs, and I know Longlegs received a lot of mixed reviews. I was very pro Longlegs, all right? It's controversial, but I'm going to come out as pro Longlegs. I think that was one of the best movies of last year, and I watched a lot of movies last year, man. I watched 35 big title movies last year or some shit like that. And I thought Longlegs it was up there. First of all, I thought Longlegs was the scariest movie I've ever seen. That is, of course, very subjective, but I've never been more afraid not necessarily during, but I've never, ever been as afraid after a movie than I was after watching Longlegs. I think Sinister, I said this in my summer of cinema recap stream a few months back now, but I think when I was 11 years old and I watched Sinister for the first time, I didn't, that shit cut my nights of sleep pretty short for a few days. But Longlegs, I got into bed and I genuinely didn't sleep. I kept my TV on all night. I kept the closet light on all night. I couldn't sleep, and I went into work the next day and I felt ill, and I didn't sleep too well the night after that. And it really it stuck with me because you have this psychological thriller where you're hunting down a serial killer, and it starts it's very grounded in reality. There's some clairvoyance from Lee Harker, but it slowly gets more and more satanic over time. So by the end, when you're Satan is the fucking puppet master controlling all the strings, to me, I thought the burn was just slow enough that it felt like it could be real. We were driving home from the theater, my dad, my sister, her boyfriend, and I was looking out at the dark roads of our town. I was like, my boy Satan could be out there. And it's fucking scary. So I was really excited for The Monkey because it seemed like it was leaning into Oz Perkins' more silly aspects, which I guess I should have been weary of because my number one problem with Longlegs, besides the ending being a little bit weak, I see why people definitely have problems with that. It's not great, but it's not terrible. My number one problem was Nicolas Cage because this is a crazy take, but I think he was really close to derailing that film. I mean, okay. So Nick Cage, I've never tried to speak and type at the same time. I mean, I have, but come on, keyboard, connect for me here. Please, baby. All right. No, don't take a screenshot. What do you, oh, hold on. There we go. I'm a little out of sorts. I'm getting used to my bearings here, but Nick Cage in Longlegs. Wow, I really can't do this, can I? Moist Critical, you are a talented man. I did not understand your game. Okay, yes, me when it's 20 degrees outside and both of my nostrils are stuffed and I'm trying to walk to class. That is what he looks like, unfortunately. This scene, the happy birthday scene where he smashes his head on the table, that shit was pretty scary to me. My sister no longer likes it when anybody sings happy birthday. I mean, nobody likes on their birthday when everybody gathers around and sings happy birthday. It's very awkward, but now it fully terrifies her, unfortunately. But this was the one good scene. There are many scenes in this movie oh, it seems I've worn my long legs today, where I just think he's just too goofy. And I watched the Longlegs. I'm getting freaked out looking at him. So maybe I'm just bullshitting here, but I just I'm sorry. So there's just too many scenes in Longlegs where Nicolas Cage is being too goofy, and I watched the Longlegs director's commentary. It was very fascinating. But Oz Perkins, that was his favorite aspect of the film, was Nicolas Cage being this weird, creepy goofball, when I think to me and a lot of audience members, he wasn't creepy. He was just a weird goofball, and that kind of derails your atmospheric serial killer horror film. So going into The Monkey, I should have been concerned because it was leaning so much more heavily into the comedy aspect of it all. But I was a blind man, all right? I thought, I was like, oh, like, they're going to die in these exciting, fun, gruesome ways. I'm sure Oz Perkins is going to cook. No, dude. No, all right? I'm gonna keep this mostly spoiler-free until I specify, but I'm not going to count this as a spoiler. Almost every death in this movie is just the first death from the boys where, like, A-Train runs through Huey's girlfriend. I can't even remember her name. It doesn't particularly matter, but and she just kind of explodes everywhere, and then he stands there shocked. Like, that is the boy's death. That is every death in this movie. No matter how the person dies, no matter how unrealistic it would be for them to just explode like that, they explode and everybody stands around covered in blood, like. And after 4 seasons of The Boys, it's lost its effect. But after 3 deaths in your hour-and-a-half long movie like that, it really loses its effect. And they keep doing it over and over, and it never gets more interesting or scary or funny or anything. I will credit them. The monkey design is very spooky. But like all good horror movie monsters, the more you show it, the less scary it becomes. Oh no, don't play the trailer. Shut up. I just wanted the poster. But the monkey it's in a lot of the movie. You're going to spend a lot of time looking at it. So by, the climax, when it gets wound up and it exposes its teeth over here, you don't really feel anything anymore because it's already done that like 15 times and you've seen it so much you're just kind of used to it by now. But the horror aspects of this film, there's no, like, people were, like, screaming in the theater because, of the gore and the violence. I don't know what they were expecting from this film. It seems like they walked in expecting not a lot of gore or violence, because even the very first kill, which the first part of the first kill, not really particularly gory. The second part of the opening kill, it's actually very good. It's a pretty decent opener. But, like, people were screaming at the first part, and I was like, all right, guys, hold, nothing happened yet. Everybody calm down. And so this was also just one of the worst audiences I've ever seen in a theater. They were laughing at every little joke, like cackling, laughing. And I get it. Comedy's subjective, but, like, it was not that funny. At no point in this movie did I ever laugh. But the worst part of it all is that nothing about this movie is sincere in any way, shape, or form. It is unable to take anything seriously. And when you're trying to tell a horror comedy, yes, you can lean into the comedy, but the comedy is just that every character here is a nincompoop, an absolute imbecile. I mean, it's not particularly funny. Let's look at the cast list. So, okay. So I was wondering, there's one character who's in this movie very briefly, Oz Perkins' character Chip. The character just gave director cameo energy. I won't spoil anything, but, like, I didn't really know what Oz Perkins looked like before I went into the movie. I kind of looked at this character Chip, and I was like, is that him? Like, this is just giving director energy. But yeah, Theo James is actually pretty decent in the movie. He's doing by far the best job, I would say. It's just he really doesn't have too much to work with, unfortunately, because this movie has some of the worst dialogue I've ever heard. Every character in this movie, like, they don't feel human in any way, shape, or form because none of them have natural reactions to any occurrence. So the main crux of the movie is that Theo's father and his twin brother, where's his twin brother? Is he not on the, Paul, give me the IMDb. Where is the IMDb? All right, hold on. His brother, I actually don't know his brother's name. I think this is him, Thrasher. So Hal's brother, Thrasher, is just the biggest asshole to ever walk the earth. Like, he just hates his brother for, like, no particular reason. Actually, this scene was kind of funny. I'm not going to spoil what's going on here, but that was a good bit. He just hates Hal for, like, no particular reason. Their father left when they were a child. That's, like, the very opening of the movie. And for some reason, Thrasher just blames his brother for it for no reason. And everybody just bullies Hal nonstop for, like, most of the movie. People walk all over him. The bullying that goes on at the beginning of this movie is so cartoonish and unexplainable that I can't take it seriously. I feel bad for Hal as a character a little bit, but it's not so much that I feel bad for him. It's more so that I feel frustration that he lives in a world where everybody fucking sucks. Like, I just hate every character in this movie. None of them are enjoyable to watch or to spend time with. They all just make you mad because they don't behave like human beings. They're just there to be assholes most of the time. Just weird, like, the dialogue is so strange. Tatiana Maslany, whatever her name is, I hate her so much, but she has probably the worst dialogue out of any character in the movie. Like, she's Hal and Thrasher's mother, and in her very limited screen time, she does not behave like a mother in any way, shape, or form. She seems like she hates her children and resents being a mother while sort of just going about her motherly duties, her day-to-day life as a mother. I don't know. Like, she's taking care of them. She just seems like she hates it and hates them for, like, no particular reason either. She gives the worst advice. Like, when every character acts this way, you simply are unable to enjoy the movie. When Hal is your only somewhat normal human being, you've lost me. Like, Elijah Wood's character in this movie is, like, a perfect example where he's supposed to set up the main emotional through line of the film, or, like, because the film is split, like, the opening act is is Hal and Thrasher's children, and the second 2/3 are them 25 years later. Elijah Wood is supposed to introduce the emotional through line for the 25 years later portion. He's just such a little dweeb that, like, I can't take it seriously at all. So a lot of the film focuses on the relationship between Hal and his son Petey, who he had by accident, because Hal has devoted his life to never becoming close to anybody again because he doesn't know, like, if the monkey will take them from him somehow at some point. Which, like, I don't know, it's a fair enough motivation. Like, I'm not going to dog on his motivation too much. Okay, sure, fair enough. It's just, he's so meek, and he never grows out of it in any way. He's always just, like, he just has this terrible nervous energy to him where, like, he just can't articulate anything he's thinking or feeling ever. Except for, like, maybe a little bit towards the end, but, like, not really. I'm trying to keep this spoiler free. It's hard to talk about this movie because it feels like nothing really happens in it, which is also, like, one of the worst parts of it all. Nothing like an hour and 35-minute movie that feels like it doesn't do anything or go anywhere. I really, like, it's almost so bad I don't really quite know what to say. It's just when all of the characters suck and all of the dialogue sucks, it's hard to care about anything. And like I said, all of the deaths are kind of just a scene from The Boys, like, where people just blow up and everybody stands there covered in blood, all, like, speechless because, of course, the premise is the monkey causes these ridiculous deaths that should never have ever been possible. But some of them were just stretching the line too much. Like, there's, like, a completely superfluous death that they just throw in for comedic value at one point. Like, it's not even a character you followed at any point during the movie. This guy's sucking on a vape, and he's like, in some hallway somewhere in a building. He's, like, at a vending machine, and then he's hitting his vape, and he steps on a rake, and the rake slaps the vape, like, into his throat. And so I figured, like, it would, I don't know, come out the back of his throat or some shit like that, but it cuts this, like, cartoonish prosthetic of the vape, like, sticking out, not even sticking out, like stretching his neck out, and it's just like, what are you doing? Like, what is going on in this film? It doesn't feel like horror. It feels like comedy where the punchline is violent death, but the deaths are not like that unexpected or anything because it's just so simple and juvenile, which, I mean, it feels pretentious to call it juvenile, but that really is how it feels. People have been dogging on The Boys. Like, if I just search The Boys gratuitous, I'm sure I can find gratuitous. Yeah, there we go. Nailed it. Perfect. The Boys uses too much gore and it completely ruins its potential shock value. It's this. See, the first result. The problem with The Boys is that any character can die horribly at any time. And it takes away all the tension, because if anybody can die at any point, but only really the random side characters who pop up and never the protagonists, then, like, why do I care? I lose my patience when anybody who's not a main character can die at any time and the main characters never really suffer any major consequences. The Monkey feels very similar to that, where I'm not going to spoil it, because the main twist of the film is genuinely so bad that a few people walked out of the theater, and, like, I really don't blame them. Like, I was just rolling my eyes the whole time. But of course, in a movie like this, most of the main characters got to make it to the end when there's so few that you're working with. Like, it really is Hal, Thrasher, Hal's son Petey for most. That's basically it for most of the movie. There's, like, random other side characters who kind of pop in and out of the story a little bit. That's really it. It's just nothing about this works. Like, the structure is simple enough, but like I said, there's really only 2 or 3 characters that you really stick with for any meaningful period of time, and they range from boring Hal to Thrasher, who's just one of my least favorite characters, I think, in cinematic history. The guy is just, none of his dialogue makes any sense. He can't say anything sincere that's not, like, an insult to Hal. Everything is just, it's all wrong, man. This is, like, it feels like a student film that got a high budget that only went to, like, making the lighting look good. That's really the best I can say about it. Particularly the very end of the movie, like the last 10 to 15 minutes or so, it loses all logic and just becomes, like, pure nonsense. There's also, like, it's a comedy that never once utilizes the rule of threes. So most of the jokes are a two-peat, where, like, maybe if it happened a third time, I'd find it funny, but it just gets cut short on the second one, and then it's not. Like, Hal describes his brother Thrasher as the type of guy who would reach his hand out for a handshake, but then pull it back and slick his hair, which, first of all, is the most fucking on-the-nose narration, I think, in the history of narration. But Thrasher does this, like, towards the end of the film, so he reaches his hand out, and you know he's going to do the thing, because they specifically said that he would, so he does the thing. He reaches his hand out again, the emotional music plays again, he does it again, and then he reaches his hand out a third time, and I was like, alright, like, this might be kind of funny, but he actually takes his hand that time, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, the emotions don't work because I don't care, and now you've cut the joke short just before I was about to laugh at it, so, like, congratulations, you failed on both ends. It's just, there's really nobody I can recommend this to, because for people who aren't really used to seeing all that much gore, this is still probably going to be too much. I mean, people in my audience were, like, shrieking. But for anybody who's seen The Boys, I don't know, there's, like, 1 or 2 scenes that might be pretty nasty to you. Like, that's kind of about it. And like I've said, the story, there's just nothing good or anything to get attached to. It really is just, it's a complete mess. Like, every way, shape, or form. It's really not good. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give Oz Perkins' new film, The Monkey, his horror comedy, 1 out of 5 stars, bro. I'm probably never going to watch this ever again. I was just infuriated sitting in the audience. I couldn't wait for it to end. People walked out of the theater. I don't blame them. L movie. Do not see this shit. The one thing that I will say, though, is very impressive so we are at the end of February 2025. Longlegs came out July 12th, 2024. Right? July 12th? Boom. Okay. So it's really only, really only a few months apart. He already has another movie slated for October, I believe. Yeah, Keeper, 2025. Upcoming American horror film. Oh, he's directing but not writing it. Oh, dude, Tatiana Maslany again, bro. Get her out of there. So clearly he has something going with Neon, which I can respect. But it's just it's impressive that when is Oz Perkins' next film release date? I think this is October, is it not? Yeah. It's impressive to direct 3 movies back to back to back, especially writing 2 of them as well. That is just genuinely like an absurd amount of work and takes a lot of passion. I have to respect that. I think the problem is a lot of people just didn't like Longlegs. I find that kind of shocking. I thought it was pretty amazing. Like I said, outside of maybe some stuff with Nicolas Cage and the very ending just left a little bit to be desired. That's about it. This film was really, really ass. Like I said, 1 out of 5 stars. So I'm not counting Keeper out because he didn't write it. I think the biggest problem is his dialogue is too wacky. And it worked in Longlegs where Lee Harker, the main character, was supposed to be like very weird, very unable to connect with people because pieces of her mind essentially were missing. So that dialogue worked very well for her when everybody else mostly spoke normally outside of like the insane characters. So in The Monkey, where everybody speaks like a complete weirdo freak and they're all supposed to be pretty normal people, it just gets really frustrating and tiring. So I think if he's directing but not writing Keeper, there's a chance. All right, I'm not going to count him out yet. We don't know anything about this movie besides that I hate one of the 2 main cast members. So it's really not looking too good. But I do generally trust Neon. And I guess it just remains to be seen really any details about this. Let's see if this Reddit post has anything about it. Damn, he's been busy. Real. You're real for that. Oh. Wait, how is this possible? There's no way that's possible. You can't. There's no way he went from filming The Monkey straight to filming The Keeper with no downtime in between. Yes, it is definitely an intense work schedule. So this is interesting, actually. I don't know how to if I should take this as absolute fact, but I am glad that Neon's giving these films a chance. Yeah, Jordan Peele is taking his time, but he's leveling up with every film, essentially, dude. Jordan Peele, let that man cook. Peele, that's how you spell it? Yeah, close enough. Get Out. I finally watched Get Out, like, within this year. I'd only seen it in weird bits and pieces. I really don't know how that happened, but that is a great movie. Us, I wasn't the biggest fan of. Like, I see there's good elements to it. I just felt like the twist was a little too much. Like, that the entire population of, like, the United States is kept underground with their tether. Too many holes in that one for my liking. It's a good movie. It's just not. It's not great. Nope, I thought was fantastic. Wow, Nope was 2022 already. Okay, yeah, no, maybe he should hurry it up a little bit. I thought Nope was incredible. This flipped a lot of shit on its head in, like, the best way. Like, having the alien be the spaceship and having it just be like a wild animal, essentially, is fascinating. The characters were fascinating. There's a lot to dig into. Oz Perkins was in Nope. What? Hold on. What a plot twist. Gretel and Hansel, shut up. But he was in Legally Blonde. Wait. Whoa. What do you mean he was in Legally Blonde? Dorky David Kidney. Who is Dorky David Kidney? He's got to be, like, in one of her college classes, like a kid that gets made fun of or something. Dude, I'm going to have to rewatch Legally Blonde just to figure out who the hell he played. That's a good name, though. Dorky David Kidney. All right. That is weird. What the hell? All right, Oz Perkins. I didn't know. I wasn't familiar with your game, big guy. But yeah, I think there's a clear escalation in the quality of Jordan Peele's films. Of course, the budgets are getting higher and higher. People have analyzed that. There's actually a great video. What is it? I think it's just how Jordan Peele shoots on a budget, and I think it probably lists out the budgets of the films, but yeah, how Jordan Peele shoots at 3 budget levels. This is a great video. I'm not gonna watch it right now and like go into it in detail, but like he really does level up his game with every movie. He makes use of every cent of his budget, and for that reason alone, and the general overall quality of the stories, I would say, even like I said with Us, where I have some problems with like the whole sci-fi concept he was going for there. I'm gonna let this man cook. I'm definitely excited for his next film. I still have to get around to seeing Monkey Man. I know he didn't direct it. He just produced it. He basically watched it and was like, why the fuck doesn't this have a wider release? Like, let me help you guys cook with this one, which, I mean, I respect the hell out of that, and I only heard good things. So, I will get around to watching this one on Peacock at some point. So yeah, that's going to be the review of The Monkey. Really just everything is wrong with it. Bad movie. All right, in between, because that was a bit of a longer one, I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but clearly The Rock is sick and tired of the slander, because hold on to your horses. Wait, discussing film. Give me the discussing film Twitter account, baby. Hold on. I'm not logging into X on here. Shut up. No. Andrew Garfield. What are these, like the top? This is not it, bro. What's going on here? Are these pinned? What? No. I'm very confused right now. Can I just see the discussing film? Yes, sign in. Great. No, don't go to my Twitter feed. Discussing film typo. People. Oh my god. Discussing film. There we go. Jeez Louise. Voice Critical, I really was not familiar with the game. Jury Duty's getting a season 2. That's cool. The James Bond thing is news. I don't have too much to say about it. I'm not a big... Oh! Paradise has been renewed for season 2. Time to start watching it, because... this is a tangent right here. Paradise, I was literally thinking to myself, I was like, alright, I'm a Sonic fan. Let me see what other shit James Marsden has been in. And then I saw that this show was coming out, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, I gotta give that a try. And then I was rewatching some of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I got to the famed episode with the dentist killer played by Sterling K. Brown. And I've been watching Invincible, where he plays Angstrom Levy. And I was like, man, dude, I need more shit with him in it too. And now all of a sudden this show premieres with the 2 of them in the leads, and it actually sounds very interesting. So I'm glad that it's already renewed for season 2. I will definitely be watching that. Where is it? Here it is, baby. You're reading this right. This is not disbussing film or anything like that. Dwayne Johnson will be the lead in Martin Scorsese's new movie. I swear that Martin Scorsese's new movie has changed several times. See, I checked 5 times to make sure this is the real discussing film. Yes. I'm fascinated by this, because if you didn't know, The Rock has another film coming out sometime this year. I believe it's called The Smashing Machine. Yeah, that is The Rock. They put on some prosthetics to play this guy, whose name I do not know. Mark Kerr. That's a pretty cool name. So it's going to be a biopic sports film by Benny Safdie of Uncut Gems fame, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with Emily Blunt. So, has Benny Safdie been up to anything since Uncut Gems? I feel like I really haven't. He worked on The Curse. Okay, The Curse I wasn't a fan of The Curse personally, but people really did enjoy that. I guess he was involved in Oppenheimer somehow. But yeah, Uncut Gems, I guess, was really his last big project. What did he do in Oppenheimer? Alright, hold on. Benny Safdie Oppenheimer. Was he acting in it? Oh, okay. Yeah, he was an actor in it. This is so interesting. Actors or directors randomly starring in these very famous movies. But I mean personally, I fucking love Uncut Gems. I think a lot of people did. My family personally did not like it, unfortunately. I thought it was amazing, but whatever. So I'm definitely interested to see him do an actual sports pick, because Uncut Gems, that basketball game at the end where Adam Sandler's character has like everything riding on it, that is one of my favorite sports scenes in any movie, besides maybe like, I don't know, the Mighty Ducks or some shit like that, some peak cinema. But so him doing an entire sports film, like, I'm pretty interested. And generally, I mean, The Rock kind of sucks as an actor, but like, let's see him try. Like, let's see him cook. He could do it. He might not be the next Dave Bautista. He might not even be John Cena, but like, which is crazy because usually it's the other way. They're trying to become The Rock, but those guys have really gone on and had some pretty excellent roles. So The Rock really does need to branch out. So I am excited to see him in such a dramatic role. I really don't know how good it's going to be. Like, I don't know if he can pull it off or not. I would never hope that he couldn't, or like that. I would never say like I hope this movie bombs and that he sucks as an actor in it or anything like that. I mean, I hope it's good, but I don't have too much faith. I can't say that I do, unfortunately. Yeah, so that's the update on The Rock's career. He's taken a more serious approach, which, I mean, working with Scorsese, the one thing I'm very curious about, if you don't know, Jonah Hill, when he was in The Wolf of Wall Street, I don't know, Jonah Hill did this movie for like not a few $1,000s, a few tens of thousands of dollars, which for a leading role in a 3-hour Martin Scorsese drama film is like relatively cheap. He really did it for like pennies on the dollar of what he could have charged to be in a film, but he just did it to work with Martin Scorsese to boost his career to a new level past like the Seth Rogen comedy group, and it really worked for him, clearly. I mean, he's had quite a mixed career overall, but like generally his movies did improve after The Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, War Dogs, I don't think a lot of people loved. I really enjoy War Dogs, one of the first movies I reviewed. Moneyball was kind of like his test of like, yeah, he can be a serious actor. Actually, I guess his career really didn't skyrocket too hard after this, did it? I mean, it was pretty good before. It's just like Don't Look Up was fucking terrible. I really hate that movie a lot. You People, certainly not a step up. I don't know this one. I can't comment on this one. Beach Bum I haven't seen. He just plays the Green Lantern here. That doesn't really count. How to Train Your Dragon, he has like 2 lines. Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot. I don't know that one either. Okay, my point was going to be that Jonah Hill working really cheaply in a Martin Scorsese movie was a great move for his career, but now looking at it, I don't know if it was such a great move. I mean, I'm glad he was in it. He was fantastic in The Wolf of Wall Street. That's certainly not what I'm saying, but oh shit, I didn't mean to close that. But we'll see if it pays off for The Rock. I don't think The Rock would be willing to do it for cheap because he's the highest paid actor in Hollywood, and that's a big part of his image, in his opinion. So I'm very curious what the deal is with that, how much he would be getting paid for it. But we will see. This is very early news that he's working with Scorsese. I would not be surprised if that fell through. But this movie, I'm pretty sure it's been filmed already. I think it might be, I don't know what state it's currently in, besides, post-production. Because the news of this movie came out a while ago, which is the only thing I'm confused about, because Benny Safdie, Emily Blunt, and Dwayne Johnson really shouldn't be struggling to find some kind of distributor. But that could be the current state of it. It's possible studios don't believe that The Rock could pull off a movie like this, so they don't want to take the chance on it, but I would find it very hard to believe that the highest paid actor in Hollywood doesn't have a way to get a movie out there if he really wanted to. So I'm curious what the deal is with that. But anyway, so we have The Rock career shift. We have The Monkey. I watched A Different Man for the first time last night. That was like one of my big blind spots, besides I think the second half of Conclave. I didn't finish Conclave. I was watching it before bed, and it was like fine. It was interesting. It just, I wasn't loving it, but of course I'm not watching Emilia Perez, because like, why would I waste my time with that? So A Different Man's one of these big Oscar contenders and award show contenders this year that I hadn't seen yet. And it was pretty good. I gave it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. I definitely really enjoyed it. It's just that I think, unfortunately, excuse me, I downed like a tub of popcorn watching The Monkey, because I mean, it was more entertaining watching my hand go down to the popcorn bucket and up to my mouth than it was watching the movie. But The story gets a little too lost in its own sauce. So for those of you who have not seen A Different Man, I mean, I'm not really gonna. I guess I'm gonna be spoiling it, but like, it's kind of just a character drama. Like, even if you know the plot details, you should definitely still watch it because the performances and the character work are like by far the best part of the movie, no contest. So even if you know every detail, like, still go watch it. I definitely still recommend it. So yeah, I'm gonna be spoiling it like a little bit, nothing like too insane, but basically the plot of the movie is Sebastian Stan's character looks a lot in the beginning. He looks a lot like how Adam Peterson looks in real life. They're supposed to have the same. I don't know what the right word is. The same medical condition, I guess. And so Sebastian Stan undergoes like a trial medical procedure, and let me just switch back to. There we go. He undergoes like a radical medical procedure, and it cures him essentially, and he turns into Sebastian Stan. He's a very good-looking guy. That's like the main setup of the film, but from that point, it goes in kind of a weird direction where this woman he was in love with before his procedure, his treatment, whatever you want to call it, writes a play about the relationship that those two had. They weren't dating, which is kind of the problem with Sebastian Stan's character and why he's like tweaking about this play a little bit. But he's like, oh, I was born to play this character because he's an aspiring actor and the role was literally written about him. It's just nobody realizes he's the same man. And so it just becomes like so self-referential about the fact that you have Sebastian Stan wearing like a full giant prosthetic face of makeup to look like Adam Peterson. Just to have to star in a play where they have to put all these like prosthetics on him and he can't act that way. And then Adam Peterson's character comes in and like starts stealing his thunder. It's a little too much, like to the point where the characters are talking to each other about the play and it feels like it's the writer just coming at you to tell you what the theme of the movie is, and it's too much. Like I'm not really that into it. But the fact that Sebastian Stan is not nominated for his performance as Edward at the Oscars is a fucking war crime, because his performance in this movie, I think, is one of the greatest performances in cinema history. Like, I'm not putting that lightly at all. I thought at the beginning of the movie, so Sebastian Stan's character, his name is Edward. At the beginning of the movie, before Edward undergoes his procedure, I thought he was played by Adam Peterson, and that he like turned into, you know, he goes through the procedure and he turns into Sebastian Stan. I didn't realize Sebastian Stan was playing him the whole time until Oswald shows up later in the movie, because I didn't really understand the full premise. Like, I didn't realize that it's sort of about Sebastian Stan's character becoming jealous of Oswald, because despite Oswald's medical condition and, you know, just the way he looks, he has this very outgoing, charming personality, and people really want to be around him. So Sebastian Stan's character, Edward, he really can't understand how it's possible. He's like, I don't understand. When I looked like that, everybody like was afraid of me and they didn't want to be around me. He looks like that and people love him. And I look like this and I'm still having problems because he doesn't understand. It's really about his personality. That's the issue, that he is like this awkward, kind of meek guy, and that people just don't really like being around people like that no matter what. And so it's just, I was so baffled at first because I thought it was like Adam Peterson plays him before, Sebastian Stan plays him after, and it's like an exploration of changing your entire look, what that does to a man. You know, he becomes a different man. But it's about Edward. It's played by Sebastian Stan the whole time, sort of once he gets the procedure, almost getting jealous of what Oswald has in terms of people liking him and his popularity and his acting skills, all that sort of thing. Like I said, it gets a little lost in its own sauce. So the first half, where like the transformation stuff is going on and Sebastian Stan gets kind of used to his new face, and at the beginning you see what his life is like before, it's very interesting, it's very engaging, and like I said, Sebastian Stan's performance is just diabolical. I mean, he's on another level in this movie. So I'm trying to come up with like what I can say without being like so specific in terms of spoilers, because like the first half of the movie story-wise is more enjoyable, but the second half of the movie is where Sebastian Stan's performance just hits another level. He essentially starts going insane, because let's be honest, like, your face practically falls off and you become a new man overnight. That's gonna have a giant psychological impact on you that sort of gets delayed in the film. So towards the end, when it really starts coming out, and Edward is like interacting a lot with Oswald and just can't understand why Oswald has everything Edward wants, despite the fact that Edward thought that the looks were the only thing holding him back. He goes bonkers. And, like, the performance here, it's so good. It's just so good. Like, he starts acting like Oswald, and Sebastian Stan nails Adam Peterson. It is flawless, to the point that it's supposed to be, like, very off-putting the way he's acting. And it is. It's so off-putting because of how accurate it is, and because it's, of course, just off-putting when you watch the film. You'll understand a little bit more about what exactly makes it so off-putting, but a big part of the off-puttingness is the accuracy. It is insane. Are you going to watch No Other Land? I just saw the poster for No Other Land outside the Monkey. I don't know. No Other Land. Yeah, this was the poster I saw. Probably not. Self, and Self. I'm probably not going to be watching this one. Would I be able to find this anywhere? In theaters. See showtimes. I'm assuming it's not. Okay, so this is the theater I just saw the Monkey at. I'm probably not going to see this one. I just, like, a documentary made by a Palestinian Israeli, probably not up my alley. I can't lie. I am pretty curious about this now. I do wonder what this reveals and what this shows. I mean, this is a very heated topic, so I'm not about to go into this live on stream. Oh boy. But I am definitely very curious about this movie for sure. Maybe I will. I can't imagine myself going to see this in theaters, but now I'm getting. The longer I think about it, the more I do want to watch this. Wow, the most critically acclaimed documentary of 2024. Dude, I haven't heard about this until like an hour ago. 93 on Metacritic. Could not find a U.S. distributor, I could imagine. Okay, so this has been out for a little bit of a while. Yeah, man. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in Israel. I've learned a lot about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It would definitely be interesting to watch a documentary from the Palestinian perspective. I've tried a few. They're usually very poorly made in terms of, like, being objective or even just telling, like, a coherent story, which is unfortunate because when there is a conflict, it's important to educate yourself on both sides. There was some, like, student-made documentary that released my last semester that a bunch of us watched, and it was, like, not to be mean, but it was incompetent. Like, it was just incompetently made, which is, like, you want to see good counterpoints whenever you have an opinion, and that was not that. This, if it's the most awarded documentary of the year, this is probably pretty competently made. Could be pretty good opposite perspective view. Yeah, so I'm probably not going to run to see this in theaters, but I will now definitely keep this in mind. So thank you for bringing that up. So that was... I don't really think I have too much more to say about A Different Man besides Sebastian Stan being nominated for his other movie, The Apprentice. I haven't gotten around to The Apprentice yet. I heard good things. I want to watch it. I don't think it's on streaming yet, and it had such a limited theatrical release. I just didn't get to it, unfortunately. The clips I've seen, he's also doing an insane job there, but I can't imagine it's any better than A Different Man, because, like I said, this is, like, one of the greatest performances of all time. I mean, it is flawless, intense. It covers so much ground in terms of emotion. It's really insane. Like I said, I thought that shot right there, I thought this was Adam Peterson. I didn't realize this was Sebastian Stan. Of course, it doesn't help that I've never seen Adam Peterson in a movie before this, but it's just, I mean, I guess it kind of goes to show. I thought that was really the premise, that this is Adam Peterson, and then he turns into Sebastian Stan. Not that Adam Peterson's character comes in relatively late, but that's a paratext, unfortunate preconception. Yeah, man, A Different Man, I highly recommend. can't really, you can spoil it. Like, if you go and read the Wikipedia plot summary, I don't think you're even going to enjoy the movie any less. Like, it's really good. The transformation scene is horrifying, as it should. I mean, your entire face and your hair and everything is completely changing in such a rapid fashion. It should be horrifying, and it certainly is. I don't think it's enough to deter people from watching if you don't like gore. I guess that's the best word for it, but yeah, man, I highly recommend it. I give it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. I'm kind of gonna stand by that. Like, I don't know, something about giving it 4 stars just feels wrong because, like I said, the story by the end just starts feeling a little off. It just gets a little too bogged down in its own sauce, and the very, very ending, I was like, oh, like that's it, it's over, all right. But the performances are so good, and some of the dialogue is so unbelievably good. So 3.5 stars, bit of a mixed bag, unfortunately, but overall very solid. Next up is Companion. This movie got fucked, man. Warner Brothers they're in a good decision making drought at the moment, which is very unfortunate. As I'm looking for jobs for the summer, and Warner Brothers has many jobs that are very interesting to me. So I'd like them to be a little smarter with some of their decisions at the moment. But what are you gonna gabagool about it? This movie is very interesting. I think the problem is marketing the movie that Sophie Thatcher's character is a robot. You're not really supposed to know that going into the movie. It's not as detrimental as some people make it out to be. Like, it becomes kind of obvious that there's something up with her pretty immediately. And so when you know she's a robot, like, it's not so obvious, and the movie's not beating you over the head with, like, ooh, what could this mean? It's just, it almost feels like when you watch the first act of this film before they reveal she's a robot, it's kind of what the second watch would feel like, where you'd be like, oh, I get it. Like, that's a reference to her being a robot. That's a reference to her being a robot. Like, it's very subtle, and it goes about it very well. So, I will definitely be watching this movie again. So I'm very curious to see what it is like to watch it for a second time, when I think, like, the first 20 minutes or so, the first time watching it feels like the second time, unfortunately, because of the marketing. I think the marketing just did a bad job selling people on the film, because this is a very difficult film to sell. I really, really liked it. It's Ex Machina and Gone Girl mixed into a The Boys-esque package, which is weird because this is now the second movie tonight that I'm comparing to The Boys, but it's like because of Jack Quaid as the protagonist. He's playing a sort of similar character to Huey if Huey wasn't so kind-hearted. But it has like the same sense of humor as The Boys, which in this movie works very well. It's just the original trailers where it's like, from the producers of Barbarian, and it made it out to be like this horrifying, violent romance film with like kind of an unclear plot. That really wasn't right either. Yeah, this trailer that's playing right here, the studio that brought you The Notebook, and then it's the fake out. This really also is not what the movie's about. There is violence in the film, of course, but this trailer is basically all of the violence in the film cut together. The violence is used sparingly, and because of that, it has a pretty phenomenal effect. Pretty much any time there is a gunshot or a stab, anything like that, the sound design is impeccable. I mean, I think the entire theater went dead silent every time the gun in this movie went off, because it really just, it echoes out, and it's like, oh my god, somebody just got shot. Like, this is not a cartoonishly violent movie. All the violence in this movie has a very specific purpose. Whether that be a character getting beaten up, it's because, you know, the character who's beating them up is supposed to be brutally, horrifyingly violent. If a character gets shot, it's supposed to be horrifying that, oh my god, they just got shot, they're about to die. Like, that's horrifying. It's fascinating because it's what we were talking about with The Boys, where the shock value is too far and it just completely ruins it. It's not about getting desensitized to violence or gore or any of that in film. No matter what level it's at, if the story and all of the accompanying elements are working well, the gore and the violence will work very well. And this film is a pretty perfect example of that, because I've seen In a Violent Nature, and In a Violent Nature is way more violent and horrifying than this movie, but some of the violence in this movie hits a lot harder because I'm very invested in the story. I'm very invested in the characters. The sound design, like I said, is really top-notch, which is important when portraying violence. It's just a pretty great package. I mean, every character is also, every actor is giving a pretty phenomenal performance. Lucas Gage has to play, no spoilers, he has to play a very surprisingly interesting character. A lot of layers going on there, and he is doing a phenomenal job. You can see a wide range of emotions on his face, really at any given point. He's very internally conflicted, and you see that 100%. Jack Quaid is like, he's playing Jack Quaid. He's more evil than his usual role, but I mean, he's basically supposed to be like your average. Calling him like a Reddit incel is not accurate. Honestly, like, he's kind of like me if I was a little bit evil. Like, he's kind of just a normal dude. He's pretty good with technology. He's like sociable. But in this case, he's a lot older. He doesn't have a girlfriend, so he, of course, buys this companion. And so he treats her very poorly, obviously. He treats her like a robot. And so, you know, a lot of the movie is exploring these people buy these companion robots, and it's just supposed to be a parody of how some people view relationships. Like, for the two people that have companion robots that we get to see some of the relationships of, obviously Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher. I won't reveal who the other companion robot is or where they show up or whatever, but for the most part, it's you want somebody who will be there when you're bored, who you can just kind of yap to about like nothing really in particular, or like you can get your stuff out, but then you don't really have to listen to any of their stuff. And of course, you can have sex with whenever you want. I think one of the funniest jokes in the whole movie is Jack Quaid explaining to Iris, his companion robot, what she is. And he sits her down and he's like, you know, I don't like the term fuckbot, but... And it's just like, dude, like, she's a full-fledged AI. Like, she thinks she's real. Calling her that is just heinous. And there's a lot of moments like that where he really just doesn't treat her as human, even though she has human-level intelligence. Overall, the movie's just... It's very smart. Like, it's very well written. It is so entertaining. It really is just Gone Girl and Ex Machina thrown together in like a bit of a more comedic package, a bit like brighter color palettes and all that. It looks pretty good. The performances are very good. Like I said, incredibly entertaining. Some interesting themes. Really, the only thing that I do not like is Patrick's relationship. Who's his? That can't be him, can it? That doesn't seem right. Why does he look so old? Yeah, that's not him. There's another character in this movie who's like, oh, this is it, Eli. Patrick and Eli are dating, and there's like, their relationship is not consistently written at all. They're trying to make their relationship seem different from the others in the movie when it's really not, which is sort of strange to me because I think making their relationship seem very similar to all the other terrible relationships in the film would have balanced out the theme pretty well, but trying to make them this kind of strange exception when what we see is that they're not. We're just being told that they are. It doesn't really work too well. That's really the one knock against this movie I have. It's unfortunate they took it out of theaters right before Valentine's Day, or put it on digital right before Valentine's Day, and didn't try just one more big marketing push behind it for like a few days. Would have been a great Valentine's Day movie. It's a great movie overall. The best part about it was that there was a couple sitting in front of me at the theater about my age, like college age, and the guy was just macking on the girl the whole time, and it was really gross and annoying because they were sitting directly in front of me. And as the movie went along, the girlfriend was like kind of pushing him away, and you could tell by the end of the movie she was pissed because they were the exact couple that needed to see this shit. Obviously, I'm projecting onto their relationship based on the movie a good bit, but like, it seems like she felt empowered by the end of it, which is, you know, it's a funny little anecdote. I appreciate that. No, Eli is studying for Math 116, unfortunately. No, dude, Ben, if you get a chance to watch Companion, this is a very good movie. I highly recommend it. I won't really spoil anything. The trailers are not the best. What I was saying was the marketing for this movie is a little tough just because it's very difficult to market. But boy, is this a good movie. I cannot wait to watch it again when it hits HBO Max some point in the next month or so at this rate. I mean, it only came out a few weeks ago, but it's already on digital. So, I mean, it can't be that long till it hits Max, which is unfortunate. But, I mean, what are you going to do? Okay, really the only other item on the list, I saw the first episode of White Lotus. I was kind of half asleep. I watched it very late last night. I don't have too many thoughts, so I'm just going to skip over that one. Invincible Season 3. I just have to wrap up the stream relatively soon, but Invincible Season 3 has been off to a very, very good start. We have 3 episodes left at this point. This is supposed to be a huge episode. We got Aaron Paul coming in as Powerplex. I am very excited. I'm imagining these next 3 episodes are going to be some of the best television I've ever seen. Not because it's going to be that good, but because, man, am I into Invincible. Holy moly. The Cecil versus Mark, like, Civil War type thing really made Marvel's Civil War movie, Captain America Civil War, look pretty life imitates art type shit. Yes, it does, Ben. Yes, it does. The beginning of this season makes Captain America Civil War look like dog duty because the fight between Mark and Cecil is, like, it's pretty logical, I think. The problem is both of them escalated a little too quickly based on what we know about their characters. It makes sense neither of them would back down, but Cecil and Mark both kind of go 0 to 100 in this fight. Bro, what do you, I don't even know what you're yapping about, Mr. Braun. I don't know what that's all about. But Mark and Cecil go 0 to 100. A lot of people have been making fun of it because it's true. But overall, like, the fight is really good. The Guardians of the Globe splitting based on it, like, each character goes exactly where you'd think they'd go, and their dialogue is all very good. The way they kind of argue with each other. The memes out of this have been so good. The Immortal whispered under his breath is hilarious. Bulletproof in the back with no lines and the the hair. That's another good meme. A lot of really, what you did was not nice. It's not nice to do that. Like, every meme from this show is hilarious. The newest episode was the weakest, probably, of maybe the whole show. I mean, I really wasn't that big of a fan of it. Nothing terrible. Like, it's still good. It was still entertaining. It was just the show's running into a problem where characters need to die. Like, if a character dies, they gotta die. Like, it feels like every time a character dies, they get revived so quickly, or like they get beaten to the brink of death where you think they're dead and somehow they're just not. Like, oh, okay, buddy. I don't know. The chat's going a little wild, but that's all right. Like, I don't think have any characters that aren't just random civilians died in this show outside of the Guardians of the Globe. I can't think of any. I mean, we all know Angstrom Levy's behind that drone, so he's still alive. Rick is alive. Darnold's alive. I don't think anybody dies in the show, and it's starting to get old. It's sort of the opposite of The Boys, where, like, the shock value is taking away from all of it to the point where, like, if nobody can die, I'm losing interest a little bit. I'm surprised by how little I have to say about Invincible because of how much I love it. I mean, I am so into the show. I watched the first 3 episodes twice in a row. I literally watched all 3 of them, like, right when they dropped, and then I watched them again because they were that good. And I'm gonna watch them a 4th time, and a 5th time, a 7th time. Like, I've watched the first 2 seasons of that show probably 4 or 5 times over. For, like, the first season I've probably seen 7 times over by now. It is so good. I just fly through it every time. Of course, the animation's gotten worse. When you go back and you rewatch season 1, something like the flying PNGs on screen in season 1, those are tough. But overall, the lighting in season 1's a lot better. The animations are a lot smoother, and there's just more going on. Like, the specific example I have is Mark, when he's chasing down D.A. Sinclair in the sewer. He does this, like, casual, like, he flies past the camera and does, like, a little twirly flip around and comes back towards it. It's just this very smooth, well-animated piece of animation with great character movement, and we don't get anything like that anymore. That's really about it. I actually kind of have to go, like, right this very second. Something's going on in my place that I need to go not deal with. It doesn't matter. Thank you all very